play a little guessing game. Can you guys guess what's in this box? Well, if you read the title, you spoiled it. This is not an Intel Arc GPU. This is the new MSI Claw. And in here, well, that went flying a lot further than I expected it to. Look at that packaging. This thing is cute. Is it purple? That's cool, actually. I kind of expected it to be a boring color. My God, this thing is huge. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I got way too excited. I didn't expect to see it right away when I opened. But MSI is one of the companies that's been making handheld devices like a lot of others, whether it's the Steam Deck or Acer has one, or how many other people have one at this point? There's a lot of them. Most of them, though, are using some sort of AMD chip. But MSI is one of the guys that has, at this point, more than doubled down on sticking with Intel as their processor. They had one that had AMD, but we're gonna ignore that one because I'm very interested to see how it performs with the Intel chips, specifically the Intel Arc G3, and that hence, you know, the box there that says G. As for what's in the rest of the box here, oh my gosh, we got a whole Thunderbolt Go dock. I don't know if this will be included in your MSI Claw, but for us, it was sent, as well as, boop. Are these just earbuds? These are just Samsung earbuds. Okay, well, I don't need to talk about these much because, again, I'm here for MSI. Is there anything else in the box though before I go into that? There's all the power for everything your heart could desire. Cool. One of the things I said when I first noticed it was how big it is, but I am shocked by how light it is. The dock, I feel like, is heavier. So we're gonna do a little test here. Our dock is 933 grams. Oh, it is 790 grams. This is where the weight is, baby. Honestly, I'm holding it and it's quite a comfortable weight. I don't feel like I'm like having to drop my arms. I mean, obviously always resting your hands, I feel like is optimal for these handheld PCs. As for where the button placement is, I feel so ergo. It's perfect width apart, just ready to game on it. I should talk about the actual specs that's in here before we game on it though, obviously. The chip in here, like I mentioned, that Intel Arc G3 Extreme, is actually based off of Panther Lake, and it features 2 P cores, 8 E cores, and then 4 low power E cores. Whereas the last MSI Claw had 4 P cores and 4 low power E cores. Say that 10 times fast, that is a mouthful. One of the other big differences though is even though this thing features 2 P cores, it can actually be configured in a way where you could only run off of the E cores. They seem to be making a much bigger deal about the standard E cores in here, whether that's to help with battery longevity, whether that's just to handle general like scheduling tasks, making sure that they have lots of places to go. Again, 8 E cores instead. And then you still have the 2 P cores for when you really need the performance. And being Panther Lake, as we guys know, it's very low power. So this thing can go all the way down to 8 watts and up to about 35 watts on the TDP. I hope that by them being lower power, it doesn't mean it games worse. We still get 32 gigs of RAM in here, which in this economy, it's a 1200p screen and it can go up to 120 hertz, and that's variable refresh rate as well. But that's what's inside, not everything. I still got a little bit more to go over. Let's take a tour of the outside. Holy cow, like I said, that 1200p screen, it is massive, dude. You obviously have your 2 analog sticks here, your D-pad on the left. You have 4 buttons on the side here. I'm not even sure what all of these are. I think when we power it on, I might just start hitting them and see what happens. You got your A, B, X, Y, and then on the top in terms of your interface, you've got a power button, which doubles as a fingerprint sensor. So if you wanted to use Windows Hello, because again, this is a Windows handheld. You got 2 Thunderbolt ports here. You got a micro SD card, headphone audio jack, volume rockers. On the back, oh, get this little, let me see that dragon. Oh yeah, it's not as cute as Lucky. And then you have 2 paddle buttons on the back for, you know, if you want to bind something like reload or whatever. And as for the bottom, there's no IO, which I don't know, I like, so then you're not like resting it like that. But it does mean if you're docking it, you do have to use one of these top ports. Maybe there is a dock out there that'll kind of like the Steam Deck dock, how it can like wrap around nice and tight, but should we power it on? Yeah. Thanks, camera operator, for being so enthusiastic.
And thanks, editor, for segueing to our sponsor.
It's Prime Day, and you know what that means. MSI is having sales on a bunch of their laptops, desktops, parts, and more. They're slashing prices with the Katana 15HX to be precise. So if you're looking for a new gaming laptop, check out the 016 US and the 810 US models. You could get a 5060 with a whole terabyte of storage so you can play your favorite games anywhere. Or check out the Crosshair 16-inch gaming laptop with 32 gigs of DDR5 and a 5070 inside. There's tons more they have on sale right now, all of it worth checking out. Use our link below to grab something for yourself today, or head on over to Amazon and check out MSI's Prime Day sale.
Pucker up, because the deals are coming. We've got deep discounts on a ton of our magnetic cable management bundles. So if you were thinking about finally organizing your setup, now is the perfect time to grab what you need. And if you're a first-time customer in LTD Store, you can even unlock a $10 coupon valid on any purchase of $50 or more. Click our link in the video description today to shop our crazy magnetic cable management deals, along with everything else that's on sale.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. The thumbsticks are RGB. It's a very nice RGB too. Let's peel this thing. You know one thing I've noticed right away? It's not quiet. I'm already hearing that little fan in there. I mean, I don't have any audio playing, so it's not the end of the world, I guess, but I would hope it would be quiet when I'm just in a menu. But I assume this is the Xbox handheld mode. We got all our games here. Wow. The screen is huge on this thing. You're gonna be so obnoxious on the bus when you're like commuting to work or school. You pull this thing out. It looks great too. I want to get a, can I go to Windows? This is how every handheld should be used, Windows. I will say the thumbsticks are better than the D-pad. I was typing in the Wi-Fi password and I was using the D-pad at first. It's kind of nice that you can roll your thumb along it, but it feels so deep for a D-pad. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like really show it on camera, but I feel like I could eat a bowl of soup out of there. Like it is quite concave. The thumbsticks were better to control the keyboard with in terms of precision. They are very loose though. Like I feel like if they're gonna be very sensitive when I get into game. They're apparently Hall effect, which is nice to see. So, you know, hopefully they will last a little bit longer. Here's the thing, when I do laptops, I usually jump right into like the screen quality and the audio quality. Should I be doing that first or should we go right into gaming? We'll let the audience decide. You guys wanna listen to Crab Rave first? All right. Hey, booting the Xbox app, like, should be right away putting me into the console mode or whatever, Xbox mode. If you actually haven't seen this Xbox mode in like a handheld environment, we actually recently did a whole video on it and it's pretty cool actually. It basically helps with, well, never mind, I went right back to the desktop, so thanks, Microsoft. But it's supposed to bridge the gap in terms of a lot of these Windows-based handhelds, so you don't have to use the Windows desktop experience. If it works very nicely. When it doesn't, it boots me right back to desktop. I'm gonna install some games before we actually listen to Crab Rave. It's a 1 terabyte drive by default, but my notes say it's a 2280 SSD. We are gonna open this thing up because I do wanna see if it'll be easily upgradable. And hey, if that's the case, you could have an 8 terabyte MSI Claw then maybe. Not with today's prices. Oh my God, I gotta sign into Microsoft. Oh, I like how I boot up the Xbox app and it just says, hey, do you wanna install this from Steam? While those are installing, let's listen to Crab Rave.
You don't deserve to settle.
Whoa,
So play.
Those are loud. In like a good way. I always start with a 100% volume test and then we'll do a 50% volume test as well. Let's skip to the drop. Whoa! I'm gaming with crabs. No, don't include that. I'm impressed. They are not the loudest I've seen on like a mobile device, but they don't sound bad. And I think that's what's important. I would rather have quieter speakers that I would actually enjoy listening to instead of louder speakers that sound like shit. I'm gonna go back though. We're gonna do 50% volume. See how that sounds. Let's say it's about half as quiet. So at least they have a pretty good linear curve of the volume there. Even this is comfortable to listen to though. Like I could see myself probably gaming at home at like a 50% volume, maybe 60% volume. And then if I'm like, yo, watch this, crank that up to 100%. I'm surprised by that. I don't know why. I expected these to be terrible. I mean, I think I expected them to be terrible because they're obviously very like headphone first. You have a headphone jack. I mean, they even gave us like Samsung buds to try. And so I just assumed that it would probably be your preference. I wanna watch some content though. I have no complaints on it with this video that I'm watching. It does seem to get very bright. Is there brightness control as a button? I don't think so. I'd probably have to like do that in Windows settings, unless it's one of these buttons. Oh, one of them just opened the Xbox mode. Oh, and we were on full brightness. Okay, that's good to know then. We were on full brightness. The screen seemed fine. I think the hardest part for me to judge on this is maybe the distance I'm supposed to hold it at while gaming. I feel like if I was here, the footage was okay. But if I'm like a proper arm's length away, it looks fine. 1200 on this size screen is really good. You get really good PPI with that. I've seen probably laptops with less PPI, but I also want to really test it in gaming because that's what you're gonna use this device for more. You're not gonna watch movies on it. So what game should we play first? Another choose your own adventure. Oh, you guys wanna play Cyberpunk? Sounds good to me. Oh God, the YouTube video is still playing in the background. While it's booting up, I kind of glossed over the specific GPU that's in here. Again, it's Intel Arc. It is a B390, which has 12 XE cores. Oh God, shut the which is 4 more than the last MSI claw, and it uses Intel's upscaling technology called XeSS3, which is very similar to like NVIDIA's DLSS or AMD's FSR. It basically allows you to render your games at a lower resolution. Sometimes you can go like crazy low, and then it'll use AI upscaling to bring it back up to your 1200 or whatever display you have. I'm gonna check the settings to see if we have it enabled, and then maybe we'll do 2 tests. Maybe we can try one with it on and one with it off, see if we can really notice the difference. This thing is definitely ramping up in volume, and I'm not talking audio in game. Oh, it's got haptics. I just felt the rumble in this thing. XeSS2, let's just say it's not DLSS. Oh, the upscaling on this is a little rough right now. I'm especially noticing it in a lot of the bloom on the roads here. It might be really hard for you guys to see on the top down, but saying that, I am getting a very smooth FPS experience. The visuals itself in the game are a little rough, but if you're going after kind of smooth gameplay, it's not terrible. Definitely more than 60. We're probably closer to, I don't have any performance monitors on. Feels like it might be closer to 70. Now we're gonna see if I was guessing right on the FPS, and if I wasn't, editor's gonna cut it out nicely, so that way I wasn't wrong. Oh God, I was way off. It's stuck at 44 FPS and it is not moving. So there is an endurance gaming mode here, and that actually can limit you to specific frame rates. Again, hopefully to give you more life in the device for battery and stuff, hence the endurance name. And I just enabled it, and you can see even like the RGB on the analog sticks cut out, and the fan just like ramped way down. I do wonder what that's like playing. Let's go right back into game. Okay, this FPS monitor is definitely broken because I am not getting 44 FPS now, and it's still saying I'm getting 44 FPS. I am not trusting this MSI overlay at all in terms of the FPS counter here. It's got a record screen function. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna go back to the manual mode. That felt like what I was getting the most performance in. Maybe we should run the benchmark in Cyberpunk and we'll see what we get here. I would talk about the battery longevity here, but the device literally showed up yesterday, so we haven't quite done the labs testing yet. They plan on posting an article on lttlabs.com, and if it's up by the time the video's up, we'll have it linked down below. If not, maybe check in like a day or so. I can tell you what MSI claims though, and excuse me for reading my prompter for this one. They claim 11 hours of gameplay that is in 1080p low settings with 2x upscaling AI mode power preset. I wasn't gonna remember all of that detail for one take there. That's a lot of little asterisks there, but you can apparently get 11 hours of gaming. Let's run the benchmark here. You know what I am shocked about is how much of the audio is like contained and going away from you. Because I just laid it down here and I immediately got hit with like a sound wave of just the fans. It's like several decibels quieter when you hold it up properly. That's a good thing, to be clear. 53 FPS, 52 FPS. It seems closer to what I was predicting though. It's got about 60 FPS in some areas. We're dipping down to about 58 right now, 55. And then kind of when we were in the bar near the entranceway there, it got all the way up to about 72. So in terms of handheld performance, 60 FPS, it's not bad. I mean, it's a 120 hertz screen. But yeah, that was on the quality setting in XeSS Super Resolution 2.0. Again, don't take this as like the definitive benchmark. Labs is hopefully gonna run through all those tests and again, post it on the website, but it should give you an idea of like maybe a real world scenario. I just quickly pulled it off the shelf and started playing. There's a free up memory button. I would love some free memory right now. I don't know what that did. It didn't, oh, I missed it. It said 2,344 megabytes released. I somehow released another 1,500 megabytes. What did it do in the 4 seconds that I was just in between hitting those buttons? It's got a cast option, so you could probably cast it to a display, which hopefully will perform well. It's got Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6 in here, so if it's done wirelessly, maybe it's all right. I mean, that's obviously banking on your house or whatever, having Wi-Fi 7, but you guys are tech bros, you have Wi-Fi 7. I mean, I wanted to top off the charge while we're downloading Rocket League. It feels like more of a controller-based game, and it's got 65 watt charging, which is pretty quick, and hopefully it'll top this thing off real fast. We're at 81% already, and we've been playing for 15 minutes, so we went down 20% pretty quick. I don't know how they're getting 11 hours, but when I boot up Rocket League, I'm gonna try the endurance mode because I wanna see if it's still a playable experience and if that could extend your battery life then. While there was some settings in the MSI overlay that we were looking at in Cyberpunk, Intel also has their own application that you can interact with, and under the graphics tab, endurance gaming, if you set it to auto, you can then change it between performance, balanced, or efficiency. And what that does is it actually locks your games at specific FPSs. Efficiency will lock it at 30 FPS if you really want to save on battery. Balanced is 40 FPS and performance is 60. And then obviously you could turn that off and hopefully get higher than that if you want to utilize the 120 hertz screen. And while that is, like I said, under that Intel specific software right now, they are working together to hopefully get it under the main menu like this, so that way it would be easier to interact with and change between. I'm just gonna drive around in Urban Central. So again, this is more just to test that low power mode. And you know what? Hey, I am locked to 30 FPS. It did its job. The fans are still audible, but obviously way quieter than when I was on performance mode. But I mean, Rocket League is pretty lightweight title anyways. I imagine playing at even the 60 FPS mode if you wanted to would be totally fine. You'd probably still get a ton of battery on this thing. But it's kind of cool that they have that mode that can just lock it out, you know, obviously across all games. And I think that's really important for handhelds when you want to be able to get the most out of your battery. Please don't judge my gameplay. I do not play Rocket League. I will say that it's a good feeling 30 FPS because obviously it's being very consistent. Like I'm not even getting a 1% low dipping into like 28 FPS or something. So if you were gonna play a game that maybe benefited from 30 FPS, maybe it was like a more cinematic type game or whatever, it's gonna be a good experience. But I wanna also, we're gonna change it to performance mode really quick and we're gonna go right back into Rocket League. And there you go. I am at 60 FPS now. That's kind of good. So maybe you could play with it as you're on the go. You're like, oh man, my battery's draining really quick. Let me quickly adjust the mode I'm in. And now that I'm at 60 FPS, same thing. This game is, you know, pretty well optimized. I will say I have a minimum of 52 FPS right now. So there is some drops happening, but I don't know, it's still pretty smooth. You know what though? You guys are done playing games, right? You guys want to see what the inside looks like, and so do I. Oh, I only see 6 screws. Hopefully that's all I actually need to take out, and then we'll be in. There we go, all the clips removed. There's our battery. It's an 80 watt hour battery all along the bottom here. There's your SSD. Hey, like I said, it is a 2280, so you can upgrade it. And that looks, I think you could probably put a double-sided SSD in there. It looks like it's got enough room, which means you could probably upgrade this thing to 8 terabytes, which is insane. You obviously got your coolers right here, and then you've got your daughter boards that have all of your inputs on them, your triggers and everything. And then probably under here is where your actual chip is, the CPU that's in here, as well as the GPU. You've got your speakers going to the bottom here. There's little buttons right here. That's the paddle buttons. Other than that, it's pretty simple. It's not as full as I thought it would be, which again, I guess explains the weight a little bit about why it's so light. But it also looks very serviceable. It looks like anybody who has a screwdriver could go into here, upgrade their SSD, repair their battery if they needed to, you know, swap out a trigger or whatever. Props MSI. I really do like that and I do appreciate that. Hopefully, it'll be easy to get replacement parts or something if you need to. Wi-Fi card is under here somewhere. These are the antennas at the very, very bottom here, and then they go up along this way, and then they're up there somewhere. Pretty cool looking device. But how much does it cost? Let's just say the price reflects the current state of RAM and hardware. It is about $1,800 US for this SKU. Ah, man, this is so tough. I love being excited about hardware and then I read the price. I still think it's a really cool piece of tech. I don't think it's worth $1,800 in the current state of the, well, you know what? Maybe it is worth $1,800 with the current state of everything else, but it is a lot of money to pay for a handheld gaming device, more expensive than the Steam Deck right now, but also got a lot newer hardware than the Steam Deck. You'll have to just pick your poison of what you think is more important. Do you want to save a little bit of money on a several-year-old device at this point, or do you want to spring for something new? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, maybe go check out the most recent ShortCircuit I did where I unboxed a B-Link device. It was basically a Windows computer in the shape of a Mac Studio and used a very powerful CPU.